So, a couple months back, there's this viral video thing that went on that kind of spun into its own, I guess, super joke. And I say super joke because it was already a joke to begin with. That had something to do with this guy who now calls himself Humongous, and this crazy woman, Zarna Joshi, I believe her name is. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Or is it Zorna? Zarna? I don't know. I didn't commit it to memory because I didn't care. I didn't care then, and I'm really starting to care now. Now, you're probably wondering, if you've been subscribed to my channel for quite some time, why I never discussed that topic way back when. And it was mostly because I thought that the original video kind of spoke for itself. The video where the guy called himself Humongous after Zarna was asking for his name so she could, mess with him. Lots of other people did videos on it, and I didn't really feel the need to do it because other people did, and they all said the same thing with the exception of Dr. Endercam, and that was, hey look, here's a crazy feminist, let's all laugh at how crazy and destructive she is. And that's what people did. They didn't really say anything of merit, because again, I think the video spoke for itself. So I didn't talk about it. And again, people are doing the same exact thing here, but someone actually sent me her channel and asked me to do a video on it, and I was like, okay, I can do that, so here I am doing a video. So Zarna made her own channel where, at the time I'm recording this one, she has 4 videos uploaded where she's talking about the patriarchy and misogyny and, all that jazz, all that bullshit. But today I'm only going to talk about part 3 of that 4-part video series, sexual harassment. Because I do think there are some interesting things to be discussed there, and something that is a bit concerning to me. So, with that being said, take us away.
It's clear that most people in our society don't even know what sexual harassment means.
And I honestly have to agree with her here. But not for the reasons why I think she thinks it's true. I think it's mostly because people have muddled the word so much with pretty trivial things that people begin to think that there are some things that aren't all that serious to be even more serious than what it is because some woman labeled it as sexual harassment. In fact, even the video in question that originally happened with Humongous was only sexual harassment because Zarna assumed that there was some sexual innuendo in there. When really it looked to me, Humongous, the guy in question, I don't know his real name, was just talking about how he's a huge person. Because he is a big guy. He looked pretty tall, but I don't know. Camera, I don't really know how tall he was.
So I'm going to tell you how to recognize it in my situation and in everyday life, in the deep hope that our sisters and queer and trans siblings might have a chance in this world. I'm going to tell you what I've learned from living on this earth for over 30 years. So listen up, because these voices are the voices of your sisters, your daughters, your friends, your mothers, and your grandmothers.
Now, you know what really concerns me about this video series as a whole, and this video in particular? It's the fact that this woman is taking herself pretty freaking seriously. I mean, there's not like an inkling of self-awareness that exists, and I talk about a lack of self-awareness all the time with a lot of feminists I discuss on my channel, but this woman honestly has to be the epitome of all of that. I mean, at no point does she stop and reevaluate her behavior in any functional capacity. She's almost like a 30-year-old child, the whole of the world is the problem and she can do no wrong. I guess more accurately, she's a 30-year-old spoiled brat, despite the fact that she was clearly the aggressor in the situation that she herself is responding to. She doesn't see it that way. In fact, she sees it as the whole of the world is against her, when in all reality it's the other way around, and most people actually it gets even worse now that I think about it when I say most people, because I hope it's not most people, but it's starting to concern me, like I said.
Men don't get to decide what sexual harassment is, any more than white people get to decide what racism is, because patriarchy and racism are systems of power. Men and white people profit from those systems of power, even if they don't know they're perpetuating them. That's why they don't get to decide how to define them.
Now, the stuff that I continuously alluded to was concerning to me was this. I was going to make the mistake and say most people actually, believe and support this woman, but I don't think that'd be entirely accurate. What is accurate, though, is the fact that she was somehow able to find people that do agree with her. And that's what concerns me the most. I mean, we have it on video evidence, and anyone with eyes and ears could clearly see that this woman was, one, the aggressor, and two, she was the one causing the problem. And yet somehow she was able to find men that believed that she was the victim, and even came together to create this video. And there are other people who in our other videos that came together to help her with that. And it really scares me a lot, because I don't know if these people are the minority or if my side is the minority.
Sure, our system is designed to keep women oppressed, but using freedom of speech as your excuse to say vile things to women makes you a coward.
Now, here's something that really sticks out to me that I think needs to be said, and that is this. If you think that saying mean words to women makes you a coward, then you are implying that inherently that there's something inferior or weak about women. I mean, let's take this into consideration. If you thought that women were equal to men, then saying mean words to women would not be special. It would be the same as saying mean words to any man. And since you very clearly don't hold that in the same esteem, that must mean that there has to be some imbalance of power. Which means that you think that women aren't strong enough or lack the mental fortitude to hear mean words and not be bothered by it. And honestly, as the days go by, I'm beginning to believe that more and more each day. I really am. I mean, take this into consideration. But see, I don't really like that. I really do think that we should start holding women to a much higher standard than this. I mean, how do we expect women to become strong individual people if we treat them like children all the time that can't handle mean words? And if mean words is really the worst women have to deal with, people said mean things to them on the internet, that means women in general, they really don't have any problems. Like at all. Like at all.
And it's also sexual harassment.
Going beyond any woman's boundaries is sexual harassment.
Whew! Never would have figured that one out until you told me.
Getting your friends to bully her, harass her, stalk her because she won't respond to you in a consenting way, that's sexual harassment.
No, that's just regular run-of-the-mill harassment. It's not sexual in any nature. It's just being a dick.
Commenting on how a woman looks when you don't know her, and she's not your partner, and you don't have her consent, sexual harassment.
Ah, I see. So that means that it's not possible to sexually harass any woman on the internet. I mean, think about it like this. Any woman that posts a picture of herself on the internet is looking for people to comment upon it. I mean, if you were satisfied with the way you look, you wouldn't need to post images of yourself 1,000 times on the internet for people to see. I'm just saying. It's not, I mean, based on that definition, it's not possible to sexually harass people on the internet because you specifically post pictures of yourself with the intention to get people to comment upon it, which means there's consent, right? Well, no, because obviously that can't be the case, otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here complaining about it. Also, that being said, I mean, you see, this is what kind of scares me. This guy isn't joking. Like, he honestly thinks that if you walk up to a woman and give her a compliment and say, hello, how are you doing? You look very nice today. That's sexual harassment. But it's interesting, considering it's the type of sexual harassment that women like. Riddle me that.
If you ask a woman out and she says no, and you keep contacting her, emailing her, following her online, calling her, that is stalking, and it's sexual harassment.
Now, there's one particular, actually no, that's not accurate. There are about two problems I have with that statement. Problem one is, it makes the implication that it's not possible to ever become friends with the woman. That you can ask a woman out and then, you know, still enjoy your company with her and be her friend and then contact her and talk to her. See, the problem too I have here is that you, the viewer, would say, well, it's very clearly obviously, Zers, that this was negative, that he was being malicious, that he was trying to stalk her, he was trying to hurt her. And see, viewer, if I'm supposed to imply implicitly that there is nothing good about what was said here, if I'm supposed to automatically understand that this is negative behavior and this is hurting someone, well then the question must be asked, why the fuck did he need to tell us that?
If you say something to a woman and she doesn't like it and you still say it, that's sexual harassment.
If you say something to a woman and she tells you you're sexually harassing her, and then you go find her email and email her multiple times and ask her to go to lunch with you, that's called stalking, and it's sexual harassment.
What really gets me about this video is that it can all be summarized with a single sentence, and that sentence is, anything a woman doesn't like is automatically sexual harassment. And more than that, I find it interesting that the worst thing that you can do to a woman, or one of the worst things you can do to a woman, is sexually harass her, which I think can spawn off into its own multitude of videos that could well be on the scope of today. But it's really concerning to me that, again, it all just kind of comes down to, if a woman doesn't like it, then that means you're sexually harassing her. And that's really disconcerting, because I can only imagine what would happen if this idea became mainstream, or if even a few women actually decided to take this and manipulate it into this whole clusterfuck of a situation. I mean, could you imagine the power that any evil or manipulative woman could have with that? Just anything she doesn't like is sexual harassment, and she can therefore get you in trouble with the law or with your job or with anyone around you with just simply saying that you hurt her or you said mean words to her. I mean, the practical implications of manipulative women using that to get what they want is endless, and that's concerning to me, because it begs the question, well, how do you stop it? Unfortunately, I don't really have an answer to that. Now, I'm going to skip a couple of these different lines, mostly because they're monotonous and I don't have the patience to go through it all. And I'm just going to skip here. They start talking about rape culture, which is also equally monotonous, but there is one point that really gets me that I'll chat about, and it's this one right here.
No, you don't have the right to expect women to be nice to you. Expecting all women to be nice to you is patriarchy.
Now, you know what's really strange about this one here? It's the fact that most of the clips that I skipped because I don't have the patience to go through them talked about a couple of benign shit, or had this gigantic implication that anything that you do is a problem for women if they deem it to be a problem. I find it interesting how women are somehow, I guess because patriarchy is a thing, that men should change their behavior to be that of what women wants. But if you as a man expect a woman to reciprocate that or be kind or respectful, you know, just some shit that most parents teach their children, that's patriarchy. It's wrong to assume that any woman would be kind to you because reasons? I really don't understand why that would be a horrible thing to expect from someone, other than the fact that it's not accurate to reality, because most people are kind of shitty now that I think about it. But anyway, it's just a double standard. Men are supposed to be kind, nice, and respectful to women, but God forbid you expect the same thing in return, you patriarchal shitlord. The fuck's wrong with you? Expecting women to give out what they ask for. What's wrong with you?
When you see a woman subjected to sexual violence, the way Zarna has been subjected to sexual violence in the form of sexual harassment, cyberstalking, slander, hate messages, rape threats, death threats, and you don't do anything to help her or to stop it, that's rape culture. That's patriarchy, and you're enabling it.
Yeah, again, you're supposed to battle the whole of the fucking internet, but if you expect a woman to be kind to you, that's patriarchy and it's wrong?
Notice how I only brought men to give this message? That's because you're patriarchal, and you won't listen any other way.
That's a wee bit insulting to my intelligence, don't you think? I mean, seriously, like, don't you think that... actually, you don't. I don't know why I'm asking that question rhetorically. I mean, for some odd reason, a lot of feminists seem to think that men just kind of mind meld with each other and we just automatically accept anything that any man says because he also has penis and testicle. But if you're a feminist watching this, I just have to let you know, that's not how men communicate with each other. Like, at all. Like, at all. Like at all. You should really, that idea that men just respect men by virtue of our existence, you should take that idea and throw it right the fuck out the window. In fact, if anything, as a man, you have to spend your life proving yourself to other men so they respect you. In fact, as a man, that's kind of what you have to do with anybody, men and women. You have to earn their respect. You just don't get it. No, seriously. I mean, you know, as a feminist, you might say that you want to be treated like a man, but in all honesty, if people just, you know, loved me and accepted me by virtue of my existence, I don't really think I'd be too upset about that. Really couldn't find very many things wrong with it.
If you're a man, use your privilege to educate others about patriarchy, but always be humble before the voices of those who are oppressed. You followed their lead. If you're a woman, a queer or transgender person, and or a person of color, know that the way you are abused is not your fault. You didn't do anything to deserve it. You were simply born into a body that patriarchy despises. You were born into a body that is objectified and commodified so that those in power can keep their power. So we will bring this system down by refusing to be quiet. We will refuse to be quiet about sexual harassment, assault, rape, and violence. Together with our male allies, we will defeat this oppression. That's how we will smash patriarchy. And that's not rhetoric. I'm going to tell you all about it.
Now, you know what's scary still about this? What I said earlier in the video. And that is the fact that this woman is completely serious. Like, this isn't a joke to her. Like, she honestly believes, one, that she was victimized by a joke, and two, she believes, honestly, I have to stop and say this. Unfortunately, I think that the internet did a really, really horrible thing here. And that is, they reinforced this woman's opinions. And they reinforce the opinions of lots of feminists all the time when they give them a bunch of bullshit. Instead of talking to these feminists and trying to convince them that what they said was wrong or just stupid, I see a lot of jumping down their throats, which ultimately just end up making the feminist worse than what she was from the beginning. In fact, I should probably make an entire video talking about that, but that goes well beyond the scope of today's video, so I won't get into it. The unfortunate thing I find here is the fact that, again, this woman is serious, and honestly, I don't know how much of an effect a lot of these YouTube videos we're making are having on people. I mean, I do see a lot of channels rapidly growing and becoming more popular discussing anti-feminism or talking about why feminism is ridiculous, but I don't really see much change occurring. I don't see very many feminists changing from being feminist into, at the very least, an egalitarian or just kind of a regular person. If anything, unfortunately, their opinions are always reinforced and they end up becoming even worse than what they were before they encountered the anti-feminist channels. And it seems to me like it's just a gigantic cycle of bullshit and no one's getting better and no one's winning. Because honestly, if this shit here is just what we anti-feminists are going to get from constantly calling feminists stupid, then that means we're actually creating more feminists or stronger feminists who end up going to become in power and still attack people greater still. Honestly, I guess the thing that worries me the most is the fact that I can't really discern if we're winning this war anymore. Because things just keep looking like they're getting worse, not better. Yeah, YouTube channels are growing, but in terms of the way people are actually being treated and responding to shit, I can't see much of any difference now from when I started making these content videos 2 years ago. And it's really sad. And I guess that's why I can't really be really funny or, I can't really be all sarcastic as much as I want to. She was actually able to find men that agreed with her. And she might find more people still that agree with her. And if that's the case, I just have to ask, how do we stop these fucking people? And unfortunately, I gotta leave the video off with that. So with that being said, man, I certainly hope you guys got something out of today's video. And if you did, man, go ahead and click the like button. Yeah, shoot, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.